Hi, welcome back to Math with me, Marisol Lopez, your second grade virtual content specialist. Think of me as your teacher's helper. In today's lesson, we will continue learning about measurement. We will also continue our learning about data and tables. Are you ready to get started? Today, we will be answering this question. How can you collect and record measurement data in a table, answer questions, and summarize the data set? There are some keywords in this question, such as collect and record. In a previous video, we learned that collecting data can be done by asking friends or family members a question, such as, what is your favorite ice cream flavor? This is called taking a survey. You can then record their answers by making a tally mark for every vote. The data can then be transferred into a table or graph. In today's lesson, you will be looking at tables that contain data. The data that you will be analyzing is different numbers of measurement. Therefore, it will not be a number of votes, such as the surveys we conducted in the previous lesson. However, whenever we are presented with tables, we should be prepared to answer questions about the data, and that is what we are going to practice today. Let's look at an example from today's lesson. Before we begin, I want you to look at this image here of this hand with a line across it. This line is showing us something called handspan. Handspan is a word that is used in this table. It basically means the measurement between the tip of a person's pinky and the tip of their thumb. Let's read the instructions together. Here are handspan measurements of some students in a class. This measurement from the tip of our pinky to the tip of our thumb is called our handspan. The table says name, handspan in inches. Jessica, 8. Juan, 8. Hector, 6. Sarah, 6. Rosani, 5. And Rygar, 8. Now remember, all of these are in inches. On the other side, it says use the information from the table to answer the following questions. What is the most common handspan length? Blank inches. What is the least common handspan length? Blank inches. What do you think the most common handspan length for the whole class, 30 students, is? Explain your thinking. As you can see, there are multiple questions that we have to answer by using the handspan data in this table. I want you to also notice that the measurement is in inches. Most common means which measurement appears the most times. Looking at the table, I can see that 8 inches is the handspan that appears the most. It appears in this table 3 times. Now they want to know which handspan length is the least common, or which one appears the least. Well, looking at this table, I can already see that only one person's handspan is 5 inches across. Okay, so what is the least common handspan length? 5 inches. And the last question is asking us to make a prediction. Using what we already noticed in this table, we can already see that 8 inches seems to be the most common handspan. I am going to say that the answer for this one too will be 8 inches, since that is the most common handspan for most students in this small sample. We can generalize these findings to a class of 30 students. In this sample, 6 students' hands were measured and half of them measured 8 inches. Let's look at another example from today's lesson. Read the instructions with me. Measure the lines below in inches. Record the data using tally marks on the table provided on the next slide. Measure to the nearest inch. And then it says you drag the ruler to measure. Okay, so we have different lines, and what we have to do is drag this ruler and measure these lines with this ruler. Let's try the first one together. When I drag this ruler to this line here, line A, you can already see that line A is longer than the ruler. Now the ruler is 5 inches long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the top, and to the little line icon, I'm going to insert a line right here at the end to show that this is where my ruler ended. So that way I can now take the ruler again and put it starting from that starting point. So now that I've put it where the starting point was, I can see that the line has 2 more inches after the 5. So 5 plus 2 means that line A is actually 7 inches long. So I'm going to make a note of that line A is 7 inches long. Did you see how I lined up the ruler to start again measuring from the line that I drew? I'm going to give you 30 seconds to measure these lines using this ruler that has been provided for you. Once again, in order to move the ruler, you need to click on it first. And once you see the blue squares, that means that you can move it when your mouse also turns into a cross. 30 seconds on the clock. Time's up. Let's compare our responses. So for line B, I got 4 inches. For line C, I got 6 inches. For line D, I got 5 inches. For line E, I got 3 inches. For line F, 2 inches. Line G, 6 inches. Did you get the same answers as me? Nice work, mathematician. Now, let's remember that we are only halfway done with this problem. We now need to make a tally chart with the data that we collected by measuring the lines on the previous slide. I took a picture of our measurements and I put them here so that we remember what our measurements are without having to go back and forth. Also, you can write the measurements down on a sheet of scrap paper if that helps. Now let's see how many of our lines are shorter than 5 inches. We have 3 here, right? 4 inches, 3 inches, and 2 inches. That's less than 5 inches. So let's make 3 tally marks by drawing lines. All right, here are my 3 tally marks. Now they want us to find out how many of the measurements are longer than 5 inches. So let's see, that's 7 inches is longer than 5 inches, 6 inches, and another 6 inches. So we have 3 lines that were longer than 5 inches. So now we have 3 tally marks also for lines that are longer than 5 inches. Now they want us to find out how many of the lines are equal to 5 inches. So we have 5 inches exactly. That only appears one time, so we're going to be drawing 1 tally mark for that. All right, so here is our tally chart completed. We have 3 lines that were shorter than 5 inches, 3 lines that were longer than 5 inches, and 1 line that was exactly equal to 5 inches. Awesome work, mathematician. We did an amazing job measuring these lines and collecting the data. Wow, mathematician, you did an amazing job using data from a table to answer questions about measurement. You also collected your own data by measuring different lines and putting in the measurements on a table. Don't forget to save your work to show it to your teacher. Keep up the great work, mathematician. Until next time, bye-bye.